just how would you say like a mortgage broker could give certainty to a home buyer?
Well, they probably can't. Right.
They can try.
And I mean, I think a couple things. One is your point is excellent, that what's important really is the slope of the line. And what people tend to do is, if you almost picture like you're drawing the graph and you, if you picture this, right? If I'm here and I'm looking right here, what I need to do is come out here and look at the whole picture.
Yeah.
And look at the slope, the relationship, the big picture, not the part so what happens with fear or anxiety is it like literally narrows our focus onto whatever the perceived threat is. So you might even, if you notice that you're like, I don't know, you're going through something really stressful and you're like, God, I don't know where I put my keys. I missed a meeting yesterday. That is normal. That happens because the brain is doing what it's supposed to do, which is paying attention to the threat.
Right.
So if it's fear, that's that in the moment acute response where you need to fight or flee, to save your life. And if it's anxiety, related but different, it's that future, like what's up around the corner and I need to be prepared for action in the case that something dangerous happens. And so the attention goes to the threat to be able to do what you need to do, essentially to survive and protect yourself. And so I think what you're describing is people are narrowing their attention onto the perceived threat.
Yeah.
And it's narrow because you're looking at one data point rather than kind of pulling back. And so, one of the things we do in therapy is sort of talk about broadening that perspective.
Yeah.
So that you're not just looking at that point of threat, but really kind of seeing whole big picture and taking the rest of the information in, kind of getting out of that like hindbrain primitive survival kind of mode that is absolutely necessary and helpful when you're under true threat.
Right.
But often with anxiety, it's like responding to a false alarm.
Yeah, good point.
So it's kind of pulling back. So I think even just doing what you're talking about and like providing some education,
bigger data points,
some reassurance, yes, which of course there's still no guarantee.
Right.
But also that, I think the tendency, if you think about if someone comes to you, a friend, a client, a kid, and says, I'm so anxious that I'm going to fail this test.
Yeah.
I'm so worried. What if I fail? What's the tendency to do or say?
You'll be all right.
Exactly. Yeah. Right? Because we want people we care about to feel good, to not be in pain. And so we want to reassure them.
Right.
Don't be anxious. You'll do fine.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is they're already anxious. And you don't actually have any idea how they're going to do on the test. Right? So it's coming from a good place, but it's not actually helpful. Or if it is, it might be just like a teeny bit in the moment, but they're going to need more eventually, right? So it's really not all that effective.
Is it better to ask questions, or what's the better method?
I mean, so one is, that's scary. Like you care about your test and you want to do well. Right? So where you're just sort of like validating because they're already having the emotion.
Right.
So if you say, don't be anxious, you'll do fine. Now they're anxious and they feel bad about it because they're being told they shouldn't feel anxious. Right. So if you think about this from like a client perspective, if someone's really freaking out about buying a house or signing their name on, loan docs, to say anything to the effect of like, don't worry about it, it'll be fine. Maybe a little bit helpful, but like not helpful enough.
Yeah.
So I think to be able to first validate, like, this is a big deal, right? Like, this is scary. It is uncertain. I would be lying if I promised you that there's never going to be another crash again.
Right.
But
75 years in the making, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of reckless lending going on. There was overbuilt houses. There's a lot of data points that you can fill in to give them assurances.
Right. So that you're kind of doing both of these things.
Right.
So that there's kind of an acknowledgement that, this is tough and it's hard. You can't really, there's no such thing as a right or wrong decision when it comes to the house that you're buying or the neighborhood you're in. But you don't strike me, I know you're not an impulsive person because, and you probably have data points to, you've emailed me about this and you've talked to this attorney or this real estate agent, whatever.
Right.
And, I know you've given this a lot of thought, and I'm really good at my job. Right. And and then the data point stuff. And here's what I can tell you. And so ultimately you're acknowledging that this is tough. And if we pull back from just the threat of what if it's wrong, there's all of this other big picture information so that you can be reasonably assured that this is a wise move.
Right.
But, you're right. There are no guarantees. But ultimately, are you going to be the type of person that's like willing to go for it?
Yeah.
Right? Like
pursue
this dream. That's exactly it.